Welcome to the show, Raw Babes 101. We are your hosts, Miss Kristen and Tiffany. And we have a beautiful guest here today for all of you amazing souls. Jessica!
Hi. I don't do a lot of podcasts.
Well, you do now.
Yeah.
So you're here now. Take it away, girl. You know, we're just
Awesome.
going to let Jessica speak. Can you tell everybody a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Awesome, yeah. So I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and women's intimacy coach. I have a practice here in Maple Ridge on our farm, and yeah, I work within my regular practice, Healing Woods Hypnosis, with a broad variety of challenges. And then Beyond the Butterflies is my new business, which is kind of a resource for all things women's sexual health and intimacy, providing easily accessible and affordable hypnosis audios.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of work.
Yeah, kind of. It's really a passion project. Like it's been a lot of nights staying up till 3 a.m. just going crazy on the computer trying to make technology work for me.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I find it really inspiring that, like, the age that you are, you've taken this knowledge to a forefront and, like, actually sharing it, actually teaching it, and making a difference in this world. Because I think this work is so important, because we all have this, like, subconscious mind that kind of stops us from moving forward in our life and having these, like, real life experiences that kind of it's supposed to bring us joy and happiness.
Yeah.
And so we're often looking for, like, a simple answer. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Kristen and I have been, like, playing with modalities for a long time, and this is actually a really beautiful segment to even our practice, is talking to our subconscious in a way that kind of brings forward disbelief and changing the narrative a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I mean, what inspired you to do such a thing? Like, where did this come from?
So I honestly had really, really bad mental health problems when I guess it was around when I was like 18 to 19. Hardly left the house. I had severe panic attacks, and I really dealt with just a deeply rooted self-hatred.
Yeah.
Oof.
So, yeah, I saw a lot of different counselors and therapists, and I just didn't really get anywhere. I didn't heal. It didn't make a big impact for me. So it wasn't until I saw a hypnotherapist that I began to kind of acknowledge these things that were holding me back and learn to take control of my own mind, being aware of where these things came from and that I didn't actually deserve to feel them, and kind of learning how to let them go in a way that was more deep, that my mind really understood and could actually move forward with, that I could actually feel within the day-to-day.
Wow.
So for me, it just made so much sense how hypnotherapy worked and why it helped and why it impacted me the way it did. And it was, I still had a lot to deal with. It's still an ever-going process, healing, and everyone does it in their own time, right? Mm-hmm. But I do feel like the process never ends.
I agree.
You're constantly working on bettering yourself, being the best you can be, as well as feeling the best that you can feel, mentally, spiritually, emotionally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was when I was in a good place in my life. It was, I had a dog daycare. That's what I did originally on our farm in Maple Ridge. And I decided, okay, I'm going to take some time, take the same courses my hypnotherapist took, really dive into this and pursue it, because I want to help people in the same way that I was helped. So,
Dude, so
I love
now
that.
I want to bring attention to the fact that your shadows and darkness is your greatest gift.
yeah, in a sense.
Because now you are an
Definitely.
expert in that field, and people that are dealing with that can better relate to, what they're going through with you.
Yeah.
Because you've got so much to offer in that area. I know lots of people that even I did for a period of time, and it still sneaks up, like you said, of that level of anxiety, that fear of whatever it is. There's so many facets.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really powerful thing what you're doing, and especially at the age, like
it's just
you still have so many years ahead of you
my
to
gosh, you're
really
just-
master.
Yeah.
Not that you're not already, but it's still, like you said, we're
constantly growing.
We're constantly growing.
Doing better, yeah.
Let's dive into hypnosis. So
Yeah.
for everybody listening, like some people don't know what the hell that is, and they obviously, like, I think people think back to their grad. You know, when they had hypnotherapists come in, and then the kids are all lined up
Yeah.
at their dry grad, and they're doing silly things. So let's like dive into that.
So that's more show hypnosis, and it's definitely very different than hypnotherapy. I find, you know, with like stage hypnosis, it really only works on people who, you know, want it to work, and generally more physical versus emotional personality types. It's generally works more for the physical personality types. I'm an emotional person. I've tried stage hypnosis. For me, it's like, okay, I know what you're doing. I know what this process is, so I'm holding on to resistance.
Yes.
Right? But hypnotherapy itself is very different. It's really just entering a really deep state of relaxation where you can work through your challenges in an almost more dreamlike state. And it's just way easier for your brain to kind of piece together and understand those changes you want to make and go forward with them, right? Learn to really implement them within your day-to-day life. Mm-hmm. So it's like versus why, I guess, for me, seeing a therapist didn't work too well, because it's like you're feeling anxious, you're talking about your anxiety, you're feeling anxious with your therapist, everything's a source of anxiety, right? Like everything.
Yeah.
So just going to see her, it's like I felt anxious, and it's like she'd speak the truth to me, and it's like, okay, I know logically that I have no reason to feel this anxiety. I know what the truth is, but I don't feel it. And no matter how many times I'm told, it's in one ear, out the other, and I still feel like crap, right? So with hypnosis, it's like you're letting go of all that anxiety, at least for a moment. You're entering a really deeply relaxed state.
Yeah.
And you're handling that anxiety in a way where you can feel yourself letting go of it. Feel yourself bringing up those confident feelings, whatever it is you want to feel, as well as just working through whatever challenges caused you to have that anxiety or whatever negative feelings. Mm-hmm. And then it's like creating that shift within your mind that it's like you can come out of hypnosis and be like, okay, yeah, I do feel a bit different. Like I can carry forward what I felt in that session within my day-to-day.
Yeah.
And it's not like a miracle in the sense that you're not gonna come out and be like, okay, I'm a different person now.
No.
But it's like, okay, your mind was aware of those changes and you really felt those changes on a deeper level, right?
Yes.
And so your unconscious mind can begin to be like, okay, we're gonna start getting the ball rolling in that more positive direction now, because we've felt it, we've realized that it's better for us, and we're going to learn to make that our new truth.
Right. And if you can actually tell everybody a little bit what we were talking about before, what is, you know, the conscious mind and then the subconscious mind, and then also kind of bridging the gap.
Yeah.
That was really powerful.
So like your conscious mind, that's your alert, aware state, the state we're all in talking here, right? But your unconscious mind is everything under the surface. So if you've ever been, you know, in a situation where maybe there was a bit of drama or something happened and you had a severe emotional reaction, consciously you might be like, what the hell, where did that come from? Like, I'm fine, everything's fine. But it could be a situation from your past, from past experiences, past beliefs, perceptions that consciously you're not aware of that do come forward, right? Mm-hmm. So often the actions that we take, the things we say, the things we do, the way we feel, that's our unconscious mind, whereas consciously our thoughts will be like, okay, well, everything's fine, we're good, we have no reason to do this, no reason to think this, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, your unconscious is everything under the surface. So if you want to learn to bridge that gap between, you know, what is conscious versus, you know, your unconscious versus subconscious mind, a lot of people call it subconscious as well, that's really about staying within the realm of what's truth, right? So often people will look at themselves in the mirror. They want to feel more beautiful, more confident, better about themselves. And they'll look in the mirror and they'll say, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, right? But they don't believe it. It doesn't sink in on an unconscious level because they don't actually think unconsciously that it's true, right? So let's say this person has dealt with a lot of self-hatred, a lot of negative experiences, people making fun of them, their looks, them really taking that in. Your unconscious mind doesn't know right from wrong. It just knows what it believes to be true. So you have this deeply rooted truth, this deeply rooted belief.
Program, right?
Yeah, this program that I'm ugly, right?
Yeah.
So you look in the mirror, you say, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful, I'm beautiful. That just bounces out. It doesn't sink in a deeper unconscious level because your unconscious mind goes, wait, that's not true. It's good for us to think that, but it's not true, so we're not going to accept it. Right? So by staying in the realm of truth, that's where you can begin to make those changes. So you might instead say, all right, so I know, I'm aware that I have these really ugly feelings, these really ugly beliefs, and I want to change them. So I can say instead, okay, I'm in the process of changing these. I'm going to look at myself and think, I love my eyes, I'm fortunate, I have nice hair. You know, maybe your body has carried children, so you think of it with gratitude for that. And you might think of the things you don't like about yourself and say, just going to accept this for now. And you slowly allow the ball to get rolling in that direction until you reach the point of truly believing and feeling, I'm beautiful, right? But you can't make a 360 change all at once, and that's why sometimes positive suggestions don't always work for people, because they do it without, really truly believing what they're telling themselves.
And I can resonate big time, and all of us can, where it's like, okay, I dressed up or I look good, I want to say yeah, I feel amazing. And then it's like this feeling inside, you're like, it's not matching the outside. The inside is just not a good reflection of the outside, and bridging that. So this is so powerful. And the other thing, maybe you can share with everybody, is how you do that. What does a session look like with you?
Okay, so it's just a slow guide, a slow process. If you've ever done guided meditation, it's similar to that, but there's kind of different, processes in place to kind of get you in that state of hypnosis. And for everyone, it is gonna look different. Some people are a lot more visual than other people. The audios that I sell are generally quite visual. So if you're not visual, there's kind of that aspect of, most people are very visual though.
Based on, when you say visual, based on what you're saying for someone to visualize.
Yeah,
That's
so every now and then you get a client who's just can't actually picture anything in their head. And then for them, you'll have to do the session way differently.
Okay.
But otherwise it's just that slow guide into hypnosis with a few induction processes. And you're just teetering on being awake and asleep. So you're not in a total trance. You're still consciously aware of what's happening. You can still hear my voice, but you're entering a more dreamlike state. And it's in that state where you can really feel those changes. It's like when you're dreaming and you can really feel everything, right? If there's something yucky happening, you feel really yucky, and you wake up and you're like, oh, that was shit, right? So sometimes yucky feelings come up in hypnosis, but you learn to let them go and focus then again on the positive and creating that shift.
And two, it's you're making a space, because even with counseling, the counselors will often say, feel the feeling. And I've talked about this, we talk about this all the time.
Feeling's healing.
It's how do I feel the feeling? And a lot of people don't understand. But it's when they're in that hypnosis state, the mind is quiet. So the body can finally feel what it's been so suppressed for all the years.
That's a really good way of explaining it, for sure.
So then it's okay, it's safe for you to feel. So that little 4-year-old girl that was traumatized, or the sexual abuse that may have happened, it's stored within the cells of the body and the memory and the liver, the kidneys, and all these things. So it's finally it's safe to feel. And like you said, it is so uncomfortable.
It is.
So uncomfortable, but in a safe container where the mind isn't trying to trick you and try to overthink from you to be able to feel.
Yeah.
So it's like, I freaking love this. This is just so cool. I am so excited to have a session and like dive into this and experience, because there's so many things, like you said, that, you know, we're all still dealing with. So many things, and it doesn't just go away, and it's not like this one magical time. All of a sudden I just got the image of flying in my head, so let's go there. Explain about some of like the phobias and the fears that you work through with clients.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
good.
So like, you mean like overcoming fears and phobias?
Yes.
Right.
Like explain about what people come to you for. It's not just about trauma.
So a lot of fears and phobias I get: fear of flying, even I've gotten fear of birds, fear of
no
needles.
judgment, but birds. Hey, wow.
Hey, I know people afraid of balloons.
Fear of balloons. Yeah,
Fucking weird.
Dude.
It was on Jerry
from their
Springer.
childhood, maybe popping balloons. My sister used to be terrified of balloons.
Oh, did she?
Okay.
Because of the loud noises.
So that's where Tiffany got that image, was from you, clearly. Oh my God, I love this.
Yeah, so with a fear, often, I'll give the example of fear of needles. It's just very kind of easy to understand that. So if someone's afraid of needles and they go to get a needle and they say, you know what, I love needles, this is great, this is awesome, I'm totally okay, I love this is going to be awesome. So a lot of people do that, those positive suggestions. It doesn't work. It almost creates more of an internal panic, because your unconscious mind knows you're lying to yourself. Right?
I can just feel that feeling of that lie.
Yeah.
It's like,
You don't like needles?
no, I'm fine. But what you're about to describe is what I do.
Yeah. Oh, that's what you do with yourself? Yeah.
With like
And that's
everything.
common, because everyone says positive suggestions. And while yes, positive suggestions are good, you have to do it at a slower pace. So let's say you're scared of needle, and you say, I love needles. That's just going to sink into your unconscious and be like, no, not true. We're not putting that in, because we know we're afraid, right?
Yeah.
It's a lie. So instead you turn that fear into discomfort. You say, okay, well, I know logically, truthfully, I'm safe. I'm okay. But it's uncomfortable. I don't like it. It's uncomfortable, right? And that's true, right? So your mind says, okay, well, true, check mark. Let's turn that fear, that panic into discomfort now. So you're getting the ball rolling at a slower pace, not making a full 360-degree change all at once, because your mind's going to resist that. So you settle into that discomfort. That becomes a new normal. That's so much lighter than an initial fear. It's like, you're okay, you're just uncomfortable, you can still go through with the process. Eventually you turn that uncomfortable feeling into dislike, I just dislike it. I know there's logically nothing really to be too uncomfortable with or apprehensive about. I'm safe, I'm okay. I know logically once that needle goes in, I won't feel it. It'll just be a little prick. I just don't like it, right? That's true.
That is true.
Check mark. Eventually, it just becomes dislike. You can keep it at dislike, or even turn that into neutrality, right? So it's just slowly getting the ball rolling in that positive direction, making those changes in a way that's actually believable to your mind, right?
Wow.
Something that you can comprehend as truth.
Yeah.
Reprogramming.
Yeah.
It's
Reprogramming. For sure.
And the images of kids came into my mind, and it's like making a kid do something opposed to communicating with them. It's like the innards of our body, it's like communicating with it like a child, because that's usually when things have happened. So it's like slowly saying, hey, you're safe, it's okay, just like you would say to your son or your daughter.
Yeah.
You're re-saying that, reparenting the child.
Or if you don't have children, it's like, how would you talk to yourself as a child?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Reparenting.
Yes.
Wow. So powerful.
So powerful.
So, side note, kind of taking this on another direction just for fun. Your goat came into my mind. I think you need to share your goat. I think this is pretty cool, and I think we just need to bring some light into the conversation.
Yeah, I have a lot of animals actually. So I've got a horse, a dog, a cat, and a little special needs goat.
And we're like, when Tiffany's like, what? Special needs goat? Like, what does that mean? You're like, how do you know?
Yeah. Well, her name's Agnes. We call her Agnew. She's got a really deep voice, and she yells at people.
Yes!
Oh, look at it.
I know.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's glitching.
It's
Is it
retrograde.
glitching? Are we good?
Yeah, we can still going. Oh, we can still going.
We can
I'm just
still
gonna
go.
I'm just gonna delete the other file. So let's just keep going. Talk about Agnes.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, so I guess the way I got Agnes is we had these other goats that we were rehoming because they were really mean and bullying the dog a lot, and just anyways, just drama there. And she happened to be on the other side of the fence, and she was emaciated and covered in, I think it's mites or flea, whatever goats get. And yeah, I just decided, okay, I'm gonna bring that one home. So I just bought her that day, and we were gonna say no more goats, but I come home to my fiance, I'm like, hey, got a goat.
Oh my god.
So,
It's not a boat, it's a goat.
yeah.
Go. It's all excited.
Yeah. So, but it worked out really well with Agnes. She hates other goats, which most goats are herd animals. She does not like other goats at all because she's always been bullied. She's the runt. She's really small, really skinny. So we boarded another goat. There was this girl in Maple Ridge who got a pet goat, and she had a townhouse. Like, they didn't have an acreage. That didn't work. So they posted in
What
the
the
neighborhood
flying
group.
fuck?
Yeah, I know. She was like 13, so.
A
Who
goat-
let the
a goat-
13-year-old
I don't know,
have a
I don't
goddamn
know.
goat in an apartment? Did she think she
Or
was getting a
townhouse,
little...
like they had a small yard, and they got one of those dog wire big kennel things, but it would
Okay.
scream really loud all day. Goats can really scream. So anyways, but Agnes wasn't very happy with that goat, and now she's the only goat. We decided we can't board her anymore because she'd jump the fence and eat plants that were toxic for her. She could jump really well, so
Holy
yeah. Now we're actually boarding a mini pig.
Wow.
That's another story. This couple were from Alberta, and they found the mini pig on the side of the road, and then no one claimed it, and the wife was like, I'm gonna keep it. So, and then they moved to BC, and they couldn't find anywhere that would let them have it. So, yeah, now pig is with me, and the pig and the goat get along really well.
Oh my gosh.
And it's perfect because Agnes doesn't like goats, but
She
her and the
likes pigs.
pig sleep together, and they hang
Oh
out.
my
and
god, this is
they
cool.
play, so
That's
Yeah.
adorable.
amazing.
Little kindred spirits.
yeah. Kind of
That's
funny how
amazing.
things just work out. Yeah.
So how long, back to business, how long does it take for somebody to work through a phobia? Let's say like flying.
So it really varies with a lot of people. Most people I find one session, depending how deeply rooted it is for them, will be enough to help them get over it, or to, as long as they keep their mind on track too.
Okay.
So I tell people it's like you have to keep yourself in line as well.
And what would they do to keep themselves in line?
So it's like if they feel that fear or those uncomfortable feelings coming up, you cannot give weight to that fear, right? You almost have to think of it as like an annoying crying child in your head who wants a candy bar and can't have it, right? Like, you know, logically and truthfully, you're safe, you're okay. You'll get on that airplane and nothing's gonna happen. It's safer than the drive you took to come see me, right? So yeah, you think of that fear as, okay, so I'm aware of that fear, but if I think within the fear, fear only knows fear. So the more I think with that program of fear in my mind, the more I'm going to dive into the fear, and the worse and worse that fear is going to grow. So you have to say, okay, stop. I'm thinking in the fear, and that's not helping me, that's not serving me. Let's go back to our logical mind, truth of the situation. That fear is just an annoying little voice. It's heavy, it's uncomfortable to deal with the fear. You know, it's still real to us, it's still uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, it bears no weight over your reality, right? Just because you feel afraid doesn't mean the plane's gonna crash, doesn't mean anything is actually gonna happen, right? And you know that logically, so you just remember, okay, I'm gonna lead with facts versus feelings. I'm not gonna let that take control.
Yeah.
So you deal with the bulk of it in hypnosis, really getting those positive, calm feelings. Might be a process of going on the plane, having it be a really positive experience and feeling calm throughout the entire thing. right? For some people, that might be session 2 to really get there. But most people, it's just one session, and then it's like they're already feeling a lot lighter. But now if that old program of fear starts to come up, they have to be mindful about it, know what to do, because some people just spin, right? And you have to say, okay.
It's
You
like
have
a
to be aware of
obsessive.
that and say, yeah, no, we're not going there, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of it, as we had said, is feeling safe to feel.
Yeah.
It's like the subconscious is holding on to that feeling. So it's like accessing subconscious, accessing the suppressed feeling, bringing them both to the surface, quieting the mind, letting the feeling surface, come through, and then you're free.
Yeah.
And I used to be afraid to fly, so that's why I wanted to go there. And then I just learned through counseling. It took a long time, of course, was really to sit on the plane to say, well, I'm here, I'm going to go anyways. Do I want to suffer through this? No.
Yeah.
Feel it. Because I used to take things. I used to take like Ativan or Gravel just to knock
Suppress
myself
it,
out. Exactly. To
And
avoid.
then you're teaching your mind that it's such a horrible thing that you can't go on the plane without being
It
medicated.
almost seems to get worse and
Right?
worse.
It does.
doesn't it?
And
Right?
then your
That's
anxiety
that's
is even
spinning, 'cause,
before you've left, all these things. But then I was like, no, I'm going to do this anyway, so I'm not going to suffer because I'm doing it anyways. I'm putting myself through this. I can put myself through this, enjoy it, or I can put myself through this and have a really a shitty time. It's my choice.
How long did it take you?
It wasn't very long. It was just working with Lisa, and also the Louise Hay book of Feeling the Feelings.
Yeah.
Was just it didn't take it didn't
Is that
take
what
me
the
too
book's
long.
called?
No.
Oh.
No, I was just saying feeling my feelings.
Okay.
With working with Lisa. But it takes time, and I love this with hypnosis is the fact that it's a safe space to shut off the monkey brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's an alternative to counseling, and there's something for everybody that's out there.
Yeah, the way I see it, like, there's so many different tools out there, so many different therapies, and nothing's necessarily, there's no
One
right
hit
one.
wonder.
I think the best way to look at it is there's a lot of different tools you can have under your belt, and it's about finding what works for you, right? So some people will do the same therapy that's not working for them for years and get nowhere. So you kind of have to say, okay, I want to make an improvement. I got to find the right tools that work for me, and it's okay to try different things.
You got it.
Yeah.
I always say it's good to like try it a handful of times
Yes.
before you make
definitely.
your
Shut
decision,
off.
because when you just do it the 1 or 2 times, it's still not enough to integrate that information
For sure.
into
That's
your
true as well.
mindset.
Yeah.
So I always years ago when I did my bikini competition, I was getting ready for it.
Good.
My trainer made me go to Bikram yoga, and it was like new for me, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll do it. Like, she's the pro. I did the class. I did it for a whole month, and I still fucking hated it at the end.
I think it was probably
Really?
the energy behind the whole thing. Your probably soul was like
Well, however many poses, 25 or whatever
I
poses.
like Bikram yoga.
Do you? I don't know what it was. I just
I wasn't
maybe it
for
was
ages,
the energy
but-
behind it. Like maybe it was the intention. I was not of sound in my mind very at all at that time. Like I had major body dysmorphia.
and maybe that's probably what was
Major.
triggering a lot of it too.
I
Hey?
probably
Yeah.
was, but I didn't fall in love with it. I just like, okay,
Yeah.
I tried it. It's not for me right
Yeah,
now.
and good
Right
for
now in
you-
that stage of my life.
And good for you for giving it a solid 30 days to
a
see.
full 30 days every day.
Good for
Wow.
you. That's awesome.
A lot of exercise.
I want to go into just something that I had dealt with recently, and it just dawned on me that's why I got into hypnotherapy. Like I have not been like no one's done hypnotherapy on me. I just kind of went. I needed help, and I just went to YouTube, read a few things, read a book, and I'm like, okay. So what was going on, and I've talked about this in the podcast in the past, is I'd go for long drives, and I would have this insane fear, like riddled over me that something terrible was going to happen. And even like I would have like these visions of me like all of a sudden I'm off the side of the cliff.
Yeah, or like turning left. And
Yeah,
just going
like I would
crashing.
be like, I'd be like on the Coquihalla, like I'd go on these like road trips, and even if it's like from here to Vancouver, it got to a point from here to even Vancouver, which is like about half hour, 45-minute drive depending on traffic. If I was going, I'd go in this hypnosis and I'd build this fear, and I was literally white knuckling it. Like it was such a full body experience, and I went through it over and over and over again, just trying to feel the feelings, trying to integrate it, and just like not trying to make sense of it. Like, why am I so fearful of this? It was a new thing. I don't know what happened. All of a sudden, it was just like this thing I was dealing with, and I'm so used to being independent and just doing my own thing, and like I can travel alone, I can drive alone, like for hours and hours and hours. But all of a sudden, I was like riddled with this feeling. So that is where I got into hypnosis. But the hypnosis that I was using did not cater to that. But
That's very specific,
it's very specific. But I think with so I was listening to Jose Silva. I'll send you a link of who he is, because he was kind of like he's the grandfather of hypnosis. And he started, he's from Mexico, and he had a bunch of kids, and he had this daughter who was really terrible at math. And he understood physics of electrical, he did clocks and stuff. And so he used a lot of wires, and then he just kind of was his daughter was bad at math. He understands how to rewire, how does the brain work? And then all of a sudden he started talking to his daughter in a hypnotic sense. And then eventually throughout their practice, she ended up crushing math. Yeah. And then he started doing it with the rest of his kids. And then he started doing it with the neighbors' kids. And they were saying that he's basically saying, my daughter is, she can read minds. And they're like, no, that's inherited. She was born with it. And he's like, no. So that's when he started doing the study with the kids around in the area. And I think it was about 49 children or something like that, or 29, 49, whatever. And they all developed this skill through hypnotherapy.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's just a little background of where it came from. And he's facilitated, he's gone now, but I just found the whole practice and the whole concept extremely powerful. But anyway, since I've understood and learned, checking off what is true, because I thought maybe it was a past life thing.
Possibly.
Did I drive off a cliff in a past life? And I actually had to feel the sadness of someone who actually would be in such a mindset to do something like that, and go through the motions of that. And I don't know, I feel in a sense that probably helped, but I definitely had to rewire my brain.
Yeah.
My subconscious was totally taking over. It was fucked out of nowhere.
How did you really overcome that?
I literally, what you said, it was a process.
Yeah.
So I had to check off what was true. Yeah, I'm feeling these feelings. Yeah. Have I ever felt the need to drive off the side of the road? No. Do I have full control of the wheel in the car? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there's a big truck. Do I need to be careful of the wave of the wind when you pass by? Yes. Am I going to drive under the truck, the big massive truck that's driving beside me? No.
Yeah, it's all fears, false evidence.
But it was so bizarre how it was just, it took me over. And I'm
and it came out of nowhere? Or did it stem on slowly?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
fucking
interesting.
No idea.
Sometimes these things are really complicated. There's no formula for every specific thing, right?
Yeah.
So something like that, it's I don't know.
I'm so weird. I know
it's not weird. And
it's also weird. Tons of people have these things just come up out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah. But it's also too, it's feeling out of control, but also not in control, but then also not trusting yourself.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. So it's not trusting yourself to get there safely, and to think, oh my God, am I just going to go like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because easily, what
trust.
if I sneeze and I just
yeah. Exactly.
I actually got to a point where I couldn't drive on the outside lane.
Yeah.
If it was a downhill thing.
Yeah. And then
I
it's
just couldn't do it.
This is what happens where people then create the bubble. They create the blocks, and they're like, well, I'm not going to feel that feeling, so I'm not going to drive in that lane. I'm not going to go to this dance class because I'm not going to feel the feeling of not being good enough. I'm not going to do that, right? They start living in a box.
They're living in fear and not in logic, right?
Yes.
It's
it's in the complete old belief old program. So I absolutely love the fact that there's somebody in Maple Ridge that's offering takes clients to help them overcome. Something that will be in the works, we'll be doing something with amazing Jessica to showcase you and to allow others to have a taste of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how's that? Okay,
I was just gonna drop a little of that and leave it like that.
as well.
We're kind of in like a retrograde vibe, so it's like we'll plant a little seed.
Well,
stay tuned.
Let's talk about real quick, like the segue from that.
Yeah.
And, like our intentions. And our intentions with like the idea came a long time ago when it was understanding that we all have a fingerprint. We all have this like beautiful gift.
Yeah.
Right? And we all have something to bring to the table. And I find a lot of us get stuck in this realm of doubt and understanding what that fingerprint is. Like, it's the level of self-discovery, but it's also getting rid of the blocks that are holding you back from even discovering those things. When you have profound experiences like yours, can really develop a sense of like you just feel so connected to the reason why, because you've noticed a significant difference in your own life, like from the before to after. So I find that like it happened for you. You know what I mean? Like you were supposed to go through all of that fucking anxiety and self-doubt so that you could do this practice, because I mean, this is your fingerprint. So here we are as facilitators. Kristen and I understand we don't need to know everything. We don't. I don't want to
No one knows everything.
I don't want to know
That's
everything.
okay.
Yes.
Right.
And we understand how, like where we are in this day and age, how important it is to start bringing back natural ways to heal and get away from the pharmaceutical aspect of it. Because that has been such a fucking knife in the side and such a fucking backhanded bullshit thing that we kind of got stuck in. And I'm not saying that there's not a time and a place for pharmaceuticals, but yet we've been laid dependent and caught in the fear that we can't get through it without it.
Yeah.
So
it creates a cover up. It doesn't deal with the root. It doesn't deal with the bulk. You know, if you have anxiety and you're taking anxiety meds, well, that might, for some people it makes it worse. Some people, you know, it might help you feel better in the moment. But, you know, I know my experience with anxiety meds is just kind of a bit of a numbness that you feel. And, you know, I will say it's better than my state at the time was just like, it was just like severe internal pain and agony. Like it was so bad.
So
the amount of like self-hatred I felt. And I still felt that with the meds, but it was like everything was sort of tuned down and I would just, I don't know. It didn't help me overcome it, right?
no.
But it's like if you're in a really dark place where it's like you haven't found help yet, you haven't reached that point of finding someone or a method of therapy or anything, sometimes you need that to hold you over, like especially for people who might be suicidal or anything like that. You know,
like if you're starting from nowhere and then that's where you're at, you might need a little bit of a help. Just to kind of take the edge off.
You need relief sometimes.
Absolutely. Like that's what's great about it.
Actually, Gabby Bernstein said even happened to her recently. She was going through such a difficult time and she just needed that little bit of support to help her face some of the things that were coming up, some challenges. But like what Tiffany was saying is having this hub and doing these things so that people have a place to go and say, okay, maybe I'll try hypnosis. You know, maybe I'll try some breath work. Maybe try all of it. You know, it's cultivating a practice that you're continuing to do, because one thing is not just going to work. We talked about this before. It's like you go to a medium or you go to a yoga class and you're like, okay, well now my life is fixed. Or, you know, you want to get into better shape. Well, you go to one class. You're not going to lose 10 pounds one time. It's the same thing with your healing. You're not going to get results one time. And it's not like it can just stop. It has to be continual.
There's consistency in these practices like anything, it just needs to be part of your practice. And I think, but I think like there's a significant difference because like in, I don't know, just like hypnotherapy where you're actually going in and trying to specifically talk about something like that's really building so much, like you're just riddled with anxiety. Like, I mean, I would love to be able to use other terms rather than just anxiety, because anxiety is just like,
It's very general, yeah.
yeah,
It's like
like,
It's
anxiety
just a
can,
feeling.
but there's so many levels.
There's so many levels. Like I called what I had anxiety, but it was like severe like panic and just
Fuck.
like
It was like fight or flight
like
constantly.
I would have screaming panic attacks where I just roll in a ball and I just scratch, hit myself, scream.
Oh my
And
gosh.
You just didn't
It
want to
was
live
just
anymore.
it was just so heavy. Yeah, I didn't. It's so difficult to live within that. Like it's so painful. So
It is.
So painful. And
Yeah.
this is what I can see gets you emotional. I get it. Because
well, everything you experience, it's still in there.
Yeah.
And it can still, it's still a program that you have in your mind that is able to root itself with the right circumstances, right?
right.
So anyone who's been through severe trauma, severe pains, it's you can overcome it, you can heal, but it's always going to be a part of yourself, right?
And
You're
this is
always
where we
gonna have
talk
to-
about how this is your
yeah.
you're special. Our darkness is our fucking mastery of light. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
had you not, I mean, obviously you're probably holding a lot of compassion for people that go through it and remembering what that was like. Because I remember my deep, dark times where it was just, I can't imagine going back there, but it almost makes me so emotional to think that that's where I was. Like, I literally lived like that for so long. Like, not just the driving part, but like just the other feelings like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you mentioned.
And so many people are living in this state 24/7.
Yeah.
And that's why they're like, okay, I just want to get off of this ride. But what we're here to offer everybody is there's hope, and there's so much out there.
Yeah.
There's so much out there. And it's like like Tiffany said before, what you're going through and what you're going to be able to overcome so that you can help other people. And that's your blueprint. And we always shame our shadow side and hate it. But at the same time, the shadow side's like, hey, like, just love me, because I'm going to be your greatest victory. I'm going to be the biggest success story
That's a good point. Yeah.
once
that's
you
very
overcome
fair.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had a question. What are some tips you can give the audience that could radically improve their life? It's like they're sitting at home right now and they're going through whatever they may be going through. Of course, yes, go to hypnotherapy, but what else? What could they do in the meantime? Or what offerings do you have for them?
Yeah. So I would honestly say just, whatever you're going through specifically, when you're living within that, it's very difficult, it's very heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But to know and acknowledge that although you're living within that momentarily, that doesn't have to be your story, right? If anything, it can be a very powerful aspect of your story, but it's not the end, right? Some people
I like that.
really go through heavy stuff, and when you're in that, it's hard to look at the other side, and it's hard to know that things do get better. But things can change rapidly in your life, and you can be looking back and be like, I'm 100% a different person. I'm 100% a different life, right?
Totally.
So when things are heavy, it's like you're living within that feeling, but try and remember, okay, what's logical, what's truthful, and how can I kind of just be more aware of that, right?
Yeah.
So when you're more aware, that's when you can begin taking responsibility.
Thank you.
Yeah. And you have to, it's hard to take responsibility, but you have to. No one from your past, no one who's hurt you and harmed you is gonna come up and apologize and make things better. If you were hurt, put down, assaulted, had severe trauma in any way, you cannot carry that and blame, you know, because although, yes, things happen and it's not your fault, if you just blame and say, I'm this way because of this, my life sucks because of this, well, you're handing your own power off to everything else around you, and you're living in kind of more an internal projection, like life comes at you. You have to say, okay, stop, how can I come at life? What can I do to make things different? You know, and when you're living within severe anxiety or severe trauma, you know, it's action steps don't have to look huge. They can be small things like waking up in the morning and say, okay.
Thank you for saying that.
Like, what's something I can do to just feel at least a little bit more positive today and to not weigh everything so heavily on myself, right?
I start with making my bed.
Yeah.
And then I brush my teeth. And then I drink water. I have to brush my teeth. Just like...
Yeah. Totally. That was really, really powerful advice. And especially taking the responsibility and taking your power back.
Yeah.
That was really good advice. I love that. Also, can you share a little bit more on... So I asked you this question earlier about hypnosis. We didn't really cover this. The fact that you don't have to talk when they're in a session with you.
Yeah.
So maybe share a little bit of what a session looks like.
You don't necessarily have to talk. There's some sessions where you might, you know, especially in a past life regression, might need a little bit of talking. But for the most part, I stick with a head nod, yes or no. Because I don't know, a lot of people, it's hard to relax when you have to talk, and then you need to cough or something because you're so relaxed. So I always found hypnosis sessions where I have to talk. It's like, okay, I'm out of it, kind of coming out of it the more I talk.
Yeah.
So you really don't have to, because there's other ways to communicate. There's ways to ask and address your questions and receive your answers in a way that's easily understood by, like, you know, a yes or no, or finger or hand signals, things like that you can kind of set up beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that can almost be a bit of a source of anxiety for people when they think they're going to be asked a question and have to respond.
Okay.
Or talk about their fears. People don't want to talk about it. They just want to work through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that way it's more personalized to yourself without having to... Not everyone wants to share with their therapist, and that's fine. Like, I like to create that space for people where they can overcome things within their own mind, and I'm just the guide. I'm not holding like, it's like you're holding your hand, but it's their journey. I'm not in it. I don't have to know exactly what you see, exactly what you experience. I'm just providing that resource for you to... Because you know what in your own mind what it is you have to overcome. I don't necessarily need to see it, hear it, or experience it. I'm just there to guide you through it.
Yeah, I love that.
So good. And the cool thing is you also offer online, so people can purchase your audios.
Yeah, so that's the separate business I do now is Beyond the Butterflies, and that's, you know, a resource I recently created for all things to do with women's sexual health, intimacy. I just kind of saw that there was a need for that. Working with women, there's so much embarrassment that comes up, things women just don't want to say, don't want to talk about, that might make them not go through with seeing a therapist of any kind. Or there's the price points too, that people might be like, I don't really want to see a one-on-one to talk about something that I'm anxious to talk about in the first place.
Can you give us some examples, just so maybe like our listeners can just, I don't know.
What do you mean of like what people are embarrassed about? Yeah, like we like to get raw so that other people are like, yeah, I feel like this too.
So a lot of women can't reach climax during sex with their partner, and that's really common and something nobody really wants to admit or talk about or discuss. You know, I've worked with women who've been in, you know, 9-10 year relationships who've been like, it's never happened but I've lied. He thinks it has.
Shit.
And that's heavy because then they also have that program in their own mind of, I can't. And that almost creates more of that truth as well. So,
like anything.
Yeah, like anything. If you speak it into existence, it can be absorbed, especially if it's a challenge you've had for a long time and it hasn't gotten better, and then you tell yourself, okay, it's just me, I just can't.
Yeah.
Then it's like, well, you created that reality. So there's things you can do, but there's things that need to change. Right?
Yeah, like
and
how
that's
do
okay.
you turn someone's head around to know that they can, and then they do.
Yeah. So, I guess talking
This
more
is
on the
interesting.
site I provide. So sometimes if you have an intimate challenge, you might look online to see what hypnosis audios are out there, but there's not a lot. There's hardly anything out there.
It's true.
So the resource I provide, it's almost like a mix and match of just getting everything you need. So if you're dealing with sexual shame, that's an audio we've got coming out soon. You are holding negative ties with your partner, things from the past that are just creating that bit of a negative energy, that's going to affect all levels of intimacy. So there's an audio for that. Maybe you have a bit of pain during intercourse. You can't relax your muscles fully. It's just... a bit of that muscle spasms. There is a hypnosis session for that as well. And then I've got a few blog posts up, and I'm working on more to just help people learn the things they can change and communicate better as well. I think a lot of people are almost too in the sexual and not enough in the sensual. Right? Like sensuality and the mental aspect of sex is so huge.
Isn't that it's just two parts, that and the act,
and
that's it.
Your brain is really the most powerful sex organ that you have. Like
it's
people,
so true.
You can literally achieve orgasm in
just
hypnosis
by thinking,
just with your mind. Right?
Wow.
It might not happen for everyone the first time they try it, but it's like you release whatever blocks and limiting beliefs are there. You're in a place where you're feeling good, you're feeling powerful and confident in your body. And you know that orgasm isn't something you're trying to achieve. You're not making it the goal. It's something that just can happen when you allow it to just happen. And that's often an issue.
Is that the workshop that we're going to do?
Oh my God.
Maybe we should. Let's do group orgasm.
Screw the orgy. We don't even need to have an orgy. We're all just going to be coming in our pants.
Just mentally. Well, hey, I will say there has been circles where people have said through the meditation.
There's a guy who
it
does
happens.
that in, I forget where, I think he's in Mexico or something. I need to find his Insta, but he does these group hypnosis where, he mostly works with women, but I think it's everyone, and they'll all be around in a room, and he'll cause group orgies just talking, doing the hypnotic process. But honestly, for a lot of people, it's a powerful thing, and it's an interesting experience, because once they learn that, okay, I can have that power in my own mind, and they learn, okay, my mind is capable of this, then it's like, what else is it capable of, right?
Oh my God.
And if your mind can do that just in hypnosis, it's like, okay, I can take my pleasure into my own hands. I don't have to rely on
anybody,
on your partner so much.
Yeah.
Right? But you kind of learn to lead and guide your partner more in what you like. And often people do focus too much on what's sexual. Like you see in movies all the time, or people just immediately go to this overwhelming, we're quickly ripping our clothes off and very quickly going in sex, and
you're
it's
like,
it's almost more from a male perspective, everything you see, because men are they're biologically wired to spread their seed. Right?
They get hard fast.
Yeah.
They come fast.
Yeah.
Just
whereas women aren't wired that way, because we don't need that to happen in order to conceive. There would be way less people on the planet if that were the case. I don't know if we'd all be here.
No, but it's like,
So-
it's taking that, for me anyways,
Yeah.
taking that entire experience. It's like having a massage, being massaged for a
Yeah.
while. Like that amps you up. It
Yeah.
gets you like ready to go. Like, you know, just a sensual massage. And just
Well, would you
gentle
consider that the
touch.
foreplay?
yeah,
Right?
but
Like
it
just
doesn't.
getting a little
But
bit-
people think yet again, foreplay is like still sexual stuff. It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be. It
No.
can be just, I don't know what word to use, caressing,
Yeah.
gentle touching. You know, like little
Even
kisses.
your
Like,
skin, that's like the
Yeah.
largest sex organ you have, and you have a lot of erogenous regions, right?
yes, like kissing the
This-
neck, or like
yeah.
a special area on your back or your lower back, like
And playing with like different textures, even if you're putting like
a feather.
feathers, yeah.
Ooh.
some scalp, that
I'm
kind
getting
of
horny.
But it's really like people just dive right into sex, or especially when males tend to be the leaders sometimes,
And women are still, they're
relationships.
not, like moisture and the temperature on the inside. Guys, you'll know if the person's turned on. If it's dry as a fucking desert sand, then you know you got work to do. Like, you know what I'm
Like-
saying?
You honestly, before you even think of genital stimulation or
Yes.
penetration, wait till you're at the point where you want it so bad, it's like you're quivering, your whole,
Yes.
you feel it in your whole body, and only then do you go for that. And even during that
Exactly.
process, you let it build up, you take breaks, you go back to the sensual aspects,
That's right.
the sensual touches, and you make sex more of a ceremony.
I was just gonna say
That's
that.
what people forget, is you can
Yes.
see sex as a ceremony
It's a sacred
more
dance.
than a quick release. Because when you look for just that quick release, then
Isn't it, like,
creates
stimulating that-
it creates a chase.
Well, I'm
right?
thinking like it stimulates the addictive behavior in a sense,
Yeah.
because if it's like you're constantly exercising that quick fix and then you're never integrating yourself into like the process and the ritual of it, it's an instant gratification. So is shopping, so is fucking drugs, alcohol,
And you're
gambling.
focusing on the release. It's not
Yeah,
about the release. It's
exactly.
about, yeah, it's like for me, I like music. I like to enjoy and make this
What else
last.
do you like?
Well, guys, get your notepad out. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
it is a ritual. It's special, and I'm very grateful that I was
Yeah.
able to experience a beautiful ceremony. Yeah, he's passed. You don't know any about that whole thing, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, I was very grateful to experience what you'd call like a superior man, especially
Yeah.
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 who
not a lot of them.
who cared
Yeah.
and understood how sacred that is, and like the goddess and the body and the temple and wow, yeah, very
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we're talking about this for others, because you know, our sacral chakra is so special, and it's our flower. It needs to bloom, it needs to be ready, it needs to be open. And women have gotten so conditioned to be a sexual object, where it's like, I need to perform, I need to look like, you know, the porn, I need to make these noises, I need to be able to like get off and be an entertainer, where it's not like that at all. It's a slow dance. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like,
I know,
how do
I
I
just
look?
can't imagine.
Right? How do
Yeah.
I look? And then it's like, okay, well, I want to please them, but it's an energetic exchange. It goes, it's both. It's a dance.
Yeah.
Let's
definitely.
dance.
Dance. Yeah, and having somebody that genuinely wants to do the dance, and it's not just, you know, everybody knows, like you find these people out there, and then the kissing and the passion, it just gets into it, and then it's like done, and then how good do you feel after? Like that.
Yeah.
But you would have been better off not doing it,
Yeah.
because your vagina has just been dry and it's rejected. It's rejected them. And then you've just attached cords. Like Tiffany and I talked about this on the game episode, where be careful what you're plugging into because you're downloading their files.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I'd rather just do my own dance until the files are until I want to download some amazing files. If your files ain't good, don't even come my way, right?
No, and I think a lot
Love this.
of women just lack awareness of that because not enough people talk about like the sensuality. All you see is this rush of passion and desire, and I think, well, that's what I should be like, that's what I should want. Why isn't it working for me? There's something wrong with me. But the mental aspect isn't there, and then they latch onto these beliefs and they create all these blocks and have these experiences that aren't so positive for them in the end, right? And that makes them end up not desiring it, having low sex drive, things like that. So
I think what's happening is you're editing their story. You're the editor.
I love that.
Yeah, because it's these stories and these beliefs that we've brought into our lives is what's like stopping us from doing these things or experiencing life or whatever. Because these fucking stories and they're lies, total bullshit. And just changing the narrative.
Totally. And it's like, I had never felt so beautiful ever in my life. And it's like having somebody that takes the time to be gentle and kind and like loves every part of your body. What the hell is that? Like women don't experience that because they're already having a hard enough time unleashing and showing up in their own skin. And then to have a beautiful mirror to just have somebody be like, it doesn't matter how long it takes. I'm fucking here for the ride. I'm here for the journey.
yeah.
Instead of it being like frustrated or, you know, the guy's he goes and then he's done. He doesn't want to cuddle and like do all these things after he's like done his thing. And then the woman, if they are left without their climax, if the woman's left there without her climax and then she gets used to that, she's like, well, it's part of the sacrifice and you know, it's okay. And then they close down their sacral chakra and then they don't have a sex drive. They've just shut it off.
Yeah.
And they just shut it down because it takes too long or it's an inconvenience to them.
Like if you see your partner looking bored, then immediately the desire shuts off.
You got it.
And your partner doesn't realize that. And it's, in a sense, you can't totally blame men. They don't have a vagina.
Exactly.
Right? The way they are wired is so different from the way women are wired. Like we are... I like to see women as like we're multi-orgasmic goddesses, right? Like,
yes, we
actually have a much higher sexual power and capability than men generally do. But it's so much more in the mental for women. Like they even did brain scans on women when it came to erotica, and the brain lights up so much more. And even with orgasmic hypnosis, it's generally a lot easier for it to happen for a woman than it is for a woman than it is for men.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And they actually had a woman on with a brain scan where she did hypnosis orgasm and they seen it all. And she did it in like people were watching. It was part of this like documentary. And she was able to
such a personal thing.
It is, but she was able to just do it and reach it on her own without anything, with no touching. And it showed exactly what you're talking about, just all of the wires, the brain lighting up, and it was just
the convulsions.
So powerful. So powerful. And yeah, it's talking about this sort of stuff where people don't talk about it. They're just like, we don't have sex, we sleep in separate rooms, or we sleep in the same room, or, you know, once in a while I'll just let him do his thing and that's it.
Yeah.
No, go in the bath, get a vibrator, start fucking touching yourself, look at yourself and explore and tell him, hey, start exploring with me. Like, let's figure this out, or move on to another partner. Maybe your body's rejecting them for a reason, because it's like, we are sexual beings. That's a portal. That is important. Your sacral chakra is your creative energy. And you're just like, closing it off and just being like, oh, well, I guess that's it. I'm just going to go through this life without experiencing any of that pleasure.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's fucking free. And you know what?
Yeah.
You got to experience it.
No, totally.
And,
yeah.
you know, find somebody like Jessica where you can explore that avenue, see what blocks that you've got there. Like there's some trauma. There is so much. Every person has sexual trauma, whether it was within themselves, their mind, with someone else, or been abused. We all have it.
You think?
Oh, yes.
Why would you say
so
that?
So much. Shame. Everything is riddled down to shame. You are shameful as a young child, or maybe, you know, you explored something as a child, or your parents would say, well, don't touch yourself. Don't touch. You see it all the time.
Yeah, that's a good point. Too.
Since being a little baby, we're like,
I'm sure there must be some people who had a positive sexual experience growing up, but that's really rare.
I don't know that I had like a negative, but I had a negative like idea of like who I was, like my body dysmorphia. I was afraid of being seen.
Yeah.
So that would have taken, you know, a little more of my attention and not being faced with the moment in time. But I can't say that I've ever experienced any sexual trauma. I've never.
Yeah.
My mom did a really good job like protecting us kids. Like that was her thing. Like we weren't allowed sleepovers. She had us like, it was kind of a very controlling atmosphere. So eventually I ended up like being very rebellious. I mean, I was born rebellious, let's just say. but it did, you know, she did protect us from like anything like that. And she fucking smelt it or was uncomfortable with anything, wasn't happening. Like just absolutely not.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is like, I don't know if like sexual trauma, I have to sit with this a little bit because there's a difference between an adult and a child versus a child and a child. And so sometimes when children,
trauma.
Well, sometimes it's more curiosity.
Yeah.
Right, with children. And sometimes it's like the natural elements of the home when the child walks in on their parents. And they're like, oh, I wonder what that's like. And, you know, and then it's like with the brother, the sister, the neighbor, I don't know. But, I mean, like that was...
And that creates a lot of shame and embarrassment.
It can.
And that's what I'm saying with the trauma and the
It can. But,
shame.
like, that never happened to me. Like, I mean, I think, like, I did get curious, like, with one little girl. We were, like, the same age. And we were just, like, really, really young. But it was just more like, okay, this is not fun. Like, I don't know. It was just like, I'm over it. And then it was just literally, I was over it. And it was what it was. But then later I became like, I was always a creative, but I always drew women and like their
mermaids
bodies,
and
always
beautiful,
and fairies.
like
It was a
goddess.
I got really in depth into it. So I had this level of appreciation of a woman's body. And then being a beautician, like I was I waxed vaginas for a living for a long time. So I saw a lot of bodies, a lot of vaginas. And so that took that image out of my brain. I'm like, I'm fine. I'm good. So I'm grateful for those things. And I'm grateful that I didn't have to experience that. But trauma's trauma. It doesn't matter. It's kind of sad.
And shame is shame.
Shame is shame. And it's the same feeling. We know that. We know it's like, it's going to cultivate that level of anxiety, that level of shame, the guilt, and that itself is going to stop you from moving forward.
Or experiencing pleasure.
Exactly.
Or even opening that door or going, oh my God, what does this mean?
Yeah.
So this is so powerful that we have you in Maple Ridge to be able to unlock a lot of doors that people have closed.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So
I
cool.
know. Nothing's a coincidence.
No. And actually a big thank you to Ruth, because Ruth went and had a hypnosis session and found you and connected you with us. So thank you, Ruth. We love you. Ruth is doing the work. Not to share your personal life, but thank you. It's all about, being seen and experiencing new healers.
Yeah,
and she's
there's
doing
so many things. So we're so happy to have you on the show because you we love to interview people that are really living in their passion. And what did you have to do to overcome that state of fear, level of doubt, just to be able to, clear the way, weed out the weeds is what we like to say. So you can just step into that fingerprint, that blueprint for you. And we love it. We love all the things. So we support you.
Thank you.
And
there'll be more to come with Jessica.
Yeah,
definitely.
Jessica, can you just quickly, we'll put it in the show notes anyways, but can you tell everybody how to find you?
So locally in Maple Ridge for one-on-one sessions, that's Healing Woods Hypnosis. That should come up online, Google Maps. But otherwise, for my other website, Beyond the Butterflies, that's just beyondthebutterflies.com. And if you're looking for hypnosis audios, a lot cheaper than seeing someone for a one-on-one session. So if you're looking for something more budget friendly, just trying to get that experience for the first time of hypnosis and overcoming your challenges, then you can just download some audios there. Well, actually, you might as well give everyone a coupon code too.
Yay!
So just all capital letters, the word beauty, and you will get 25% off.
Ooh, look at everybody.
Yeah, I've got
beauty is the code, the name. Okay.
Yeah, hypnosis sessions there's like a relationship package, 3 sessions there, or you can get them each individually depending what specifically you need to work on. And lots more coming, still a lot more I need to put out. You'll see a lot that just say coming soon, so all those will be out soon. But I have an audio increasing your sex drive, decreasing / lowering, or balancing.
For those sex addicts out there that need to control themselves, great. But we've got something for everybody.
Yeah, it's just kind of creating that resource for all aspects of sexual health, right? It's something easily accessible online to just help women everywhere, and it's something I really want to grow and develop. I want to find brand ambassadors too. That's something I got to work on. So
cool.
Yeah, hoping to just really just make it a resource of comfort women can turn to and be like, okay,
because
got this challenge, got that audio.
Exactly. And like orgasming is very powerful, and you can manifest a lot of shit when you orgasm. You're like thinking it, feeling it, and
I tried that.
Universe.
I tried. I'm just too into it.
Okay, well,
I did.
Maybe doing some hypnosis stuff. Maybe, when you're on your own, you can just cultivate that.
I do need to make an orgasmic manifestation audio as well.
There we go. Just drop the seed. Yeah. Just drop the seed.
Okay, so, and then you have your Instagram, we got your website, all the things.
Yeah, I'm not
She's got her goat.
I'm not very on social media too much.
That's okay.
Okay.
But I've got an Instagram. It's hardly anything there. I got my grandma on there.
That's awesome. Well, maybe it's time to do the butterfly one.
Yeah, so I did create an Instagram for that too.
Okay,
actually.
well then let's share that one.
Follow that one, Beyond the Butterflies.
Yeah.
It's just underscore between the words.
Okay.
Beyond underscore the butterfly, or under each one? Beyond underscore the underscore?
Yeah.
Butterflies?
Got no followers on there yet. I just posted a few reels. I don't know how the heck Instagram works.
Well, you've just met these 2 amazing people that will just transform your life right here and now.
That's good. Awesome.
Tiffany's your social media guru. Mm-hmm. She people hire her to do their social media or their link tree or all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
You have just come to the one-stop shop. This is the hub. We are raw and real and here to transform.
Yes. Yeah.
Coming to, our soul mission. Hey, let's pull a card.
I was going to say.
I was called, do you pull cards ever?
No, I have not.
Okay. Tiff, I think you should match it with the 4 agreements. Those ones are fierce as fierce.
Oh, these are the ones. Okay.
Yes, and actually, thank you so much to Miss Nikki. She was the one who gave me these beautiful cards, passing some things down. What you got?
Be impeccable with your word. Manifest your true intentions. Oh, this was my card from last night.
No, it wasn't. But that's
okay.
It wasn't?
No. Are you sure?
No, you had the
Whose
faith.
was it?
Nobody's. It's everybody because it's 4 agreements. So it was be impeccable with your words. So that's under the one of the agreements. But
okay.
guys, come on.
Manifest your intentions.
And we're talking about
We're literally talking about that.
orgasming and manifesting.
So regardless of what language you speak, your intention will manifest through the world. What you dream, what you feel, and what you really are will be manifested through the word.
Next level. So this is good vibes. So all of this is for the collective, for everybody. That's good, hey? Come on.
These are nice. I like these.
What was that one that, damn, there was a horse on it. The one that you picked up. Shit.
Wait, you want to see the horse?
Save a horse, ride a cowboy. Hey, since we're talking about.
You girls ride?
What kind? Just kidding.
I meant the
Okay, so can we come and ride your horse? One of your horses?
Sure.
That sounds a little.
So my horse Clementine, she's pretty good. She's a bit of a bitch. But
okay, well maybe not, because there's a fear I can do hypnosis to go for that.
Well, I can always lead you on her if you
Okay.
want. But no, she's good. She's got her moments. When I got her, she had a major bucking problem. She wanted to be a bronc, and she would kick, she'd bite, she'd never come up to you.
You've got a
you work
special
through
gift.
With her?
Yeah, now she's awesome. Like, she's so obsessed with me. She'll come right up to our window and just be like, give me attention.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah.
What did you do to facilitate that?
So I switched to more positive reinforcement training techniques. I kind of tried, even what I know with hypnosis and with the unconscious mind, kind of just making that shift of creating things into a positive.
Yeah.
So like if you tried to get a saddle or anything on her before, it was just like, oh, she'd kick you, she'd bite you, she'd be pissed off. And the trainer we had would just be like, no, push her through it. Like, that's that. And I'm like, well, okay.
She's probably brought a little bit more resistance.
Yeah, so what I did instead is just really made it a positive. We did target training, so you'd have a target. If she'd put her nose to it, you'd use a clicker, give her a treat. Now I just snap, because that's easier. Just snap treat.
Yeah.
So you made the saddle, too, a positive. She just every time she touched her nose, get a treat. You put it just a little onside her, treat, give her a lot of love, a lot of attention, and then you put it away. Don't even put it on her. Next time you go out, you get a little further.
Cool.
And now she's just like, cool, yeah, no problem.
Wow.
I love this. This is
Good
awesome.
for you. You have a very special way with the animals.
Well, animals are love, right? They're pure
Pure
love,
love.
just like babies. And they just, I mean, you can't treat them all the same in the way that you train them. And I have a staffy, and she's like absolutely bananas. She's what?
It's just hilarious. It's just keep going. You have a staff.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that I love that you tried a different technique. Because going back to just the love, I think is like really like going back to the root of the animal. Why not?
And a lot of horse trainers say your horse isn't your friend. You know, they have to know you're the leader, the boss. But I'm like, actually making her my friend really worked.
Do you see what's happening right now?
Trust.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. It was just like we had
It's okay.
retro. Okay. Wow, that is really good.
Trust.
So now she's like, she loves learning tricks. We're working on bowing right now, putting her foot forward and bowing her head. But she spins in circles every time I see me. She's a bit mean to the other horses. So what she'll do is if people come up, she'll chase them away. She's the boss. She'll go up to the people and start doing tricks. Without being asked.
My
But if you
God.
don't give her attention and you don't tell her she's a good girl immediately, she'll get real pissed off. She'll start shaking her head at you, ears pinned, like, tell me I'm good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
What a riot.
Wow.
Little
She's
stinker.
sweet, though.
Okay, what do you got, KK?
You are not alone. Isolation, physical connection, and community.
Yeah.
Just bridging the gap. Get out into the community. That's the collective. And then we got the key to enlightenment lives in your mind. Breathe in the beauty of who you are. Breathe out the judgments. Such a nice end. Good cards.
See, isn't that good? The key to enlightenment lives in your mind. This is where we're at. This is the whole intention of this podcast, talking about your beautiful practice.
Yeah.
of hypnosis. And yeah, if anybody wants to get a hold of Jessica, you can go in the show notes. You can message us directly, and we'll just send you the link if you can't find it in the
And stay tuned because we've got some magic to share at our next circles. You'll see.
Yes.
Okay, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, rate, review. It takes 5 seconds to just go like, subscribe.
I'd say less. Definitely less.
5 seconds?
Yeah. Or if you do it all,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
If you want to leave a review, it might take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But
Positive.
positive vibes.
Okay. Bye.
All right. Bye.